Let's be honest, choosing an internet provider can be a total headache, right? You're just buried in all these different deals, confusing terms, and a whole lot of fine print. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise. This is your guide to Astound Broadband, and we're using only the information they share publicly to see what they're really all about.
All right, let's dive right in. Here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out who Astound even is. Then, we'll map out their coverage, a big one. We'll look at their products, internet, TV, mobile, the whole shebang. After that, we'll decode what you'll actually pay. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the pros and cons to see if they might be the right choice for you.
First up, who exactly is Astound Broadband? They call themselves a major regional player, which is kind of interesting. They're not some small local company, but they're definitely not a national giant you see everywhere either. They operate in very specific key markets across the US.
So, digging into their website, you see they offer this bundle of services. You've got your high-speed internet, TV, and mobile. And they're pretty proud of their fiber-powered network and the awards they've apparently won. Now, if the name Astound is new to you, you might actually know them by their old names, like RCN, Grande Communications, or maybe Wave Broadcast. So the key thing to remember is this. Their whole strategy is built around a super-specific regional focus. Think of them less as a new company and more like a unified brand for these really strong local providers.
Now for probably the most important question of all, can you even get Astound where you live? This is the first hurdle for any potential customer, right? So let's take a look at the map and see exactly where Astound operates.
As you can see right here, Astound's service is concentrated in just these 12 states and districts. And this is a total deal breaker. If you're not in one of these areas, well, Astound just isn't an option for you right now. Simple as that. And this slide really drives the point home. Even if you're in one of their states, that doesn't guarantee you can get service. They really focus on major metro areas. So if you're in Texas, for example, think Austin and Dallas, not everywhere in the state. The bottom line, you absolutely 100% have to check your specific address on their website.
Okay, so let's say you've confirmed you're in a service area. Awesome. What can you actually buy from Astound? Let's break down their products, and we'll start with what most people are probably here for, their internet service.
So their main thing is high-speed internet, which they deliver over what they call a fiber-powered network. They're promising speeds up to 940 megabits per second, and in some lucky areas, you can even get a ridiculously fast 5 gigs. But here's a huge selling point they really lean on. No mandatory long-term contracts. And that is a big deal in an industry that's famous for locking you in. For TV, they actually give you 2 different paths. You can go with their own Astound TV, which is kind of like a more traditional cable experience that uses TiVo, or you can opt for their partnership with DirecTV, which lets you stream live TV right over your internet connection, so no satellite dish needed.
And yep, they're in the mobile game too. Astound Mobile uses a 5G network, but, and this is a key condition, you can only get their mobile service if you're already an Astound Internet customer. It's an exclusive add-on. You can't just buy it on its own. Okay, we've seen what you can buy. Now let's talk about the bottom line, the part everyone really cares about. We've all seen those ads with those super attractive low prices, but what are you actually going to pay as an Astound customer? Let's dive into the fine print on their site and find out. The offer you'll see plastered basically everywhere is this one, their gig Wi-Fi plan for just $40 a month. And the real hook, the thing they want you to remember, is their promise that this price is yours forever. But is it really that simple? Right. That $40 price tag immediately brings up some really important questions, like what are the conditions to even get that price? And what other fees might just pop up on your bill that you're not expecting?
Okay, here's the first thing you need to know. That advertised price isn't automatic. It actually includes a discount of up to $10 a month, but you only get it if you sign up for both autopay and paperless billing. Then, you've got to factor in a one-time activation fee of about $15, and hey, if you need a pro to come install it, that's an extra $100.
And what about that whole price for life promise? Well, turns out it's not for everyone. According to their terms, that guarantee only applies to their gig plan and anything faster. So if you go for a cheaper, slower plan, that price is just a promotional rate for the first year. After that, you can bet it's going to go up. It's a pretty clear strategy to lock in their highest-paying customers for the long haul. All right, we've covered a lot. We know who Astound is, where they operate, what they're selling, and how much it really costs. Now, let's pull all of that together into a simple pros and cons list to help you decide.
So let's weigh the good against the bad. On the pros side, having no mandatory contracts is a huge plus. That gives you a ton of flexibility. And that price for life on their faster plans, that's really appealing if you like to budget long term. But on the con side, their limited availability is a major hurdle. That best price is tied to autopay, and you've got to be ready for those one-time setup fees.
So who is the ideal Astound customer? Well, based on everything we've looked at, it seems like it's someone who lives in one of their specific metro areas, who really values the freedom of a no-contract service, and who doesn't mind paying close attention to the billing details to make sure they get the best deal. And that leaves us with the final question, which is really for you to answer. Now that we've unpacked all the details right from their own website, you have to decide. For your needs, does the flexibility of having high-speed, no-contract internet outweigh the fact that they're only available in very specific places? The choice, of course, is all yours.